What up? I'm back. This one, man, I want to give a shout out to my man Rick Ross. I don't think Rick Ross get his roses at all. Rick Ross don't get his roses at all. I don't know if y'all be listening to the same music I'll be listening to, but consistently since 2006, musically, and just to keep releasing hit after hit after hit and fire albums, ain't nobody fucking with Rick Ross. I ain't got no notes, no phone with me right now. Everything is off the dome right now. Pete. I first heard of Rick Ross, I want to say this was 2000, could be 99, I don't know, I was a kid. This is when he was Teflon Don. He had the Lakers jersey. He was in Trina's video. He ain't had the beard yet. Riding around, forgot how the song go, but I remember the record though. In fact, was it part of, I think it was that soundtrack from that Ice Cube Eddie Griffin movie. Fuck is the name of that movie, man? I can't remember that, but I think it was on that soundtrack. I don't remember the name of the movie, but I ain't got no phone on me. But yeah, he was on that record. Dropped his little thing. Fast forward to like 03, I was going out to Miami then. I was hearing about him. I knew who he was though, but I was hearing about him. It was buzzing out there. Trick Daddy was on a record called Round Here with T.I. It was Memphis Bleek's song. Memphis Bleek's record with T.I. and Trick Daddy. Look in the background, the guy with the Pittsburgh Steelers jersey standing behind Trick Daddy when he was in his Miami shot. That was Rick Ross. Then Rick Ross, I heard him on a mixtape. I forgot whose mixtape I heard. I was like, okay. I said, that's Teflon Don. I remember him. I don't think he was Rick Ross then. Anyway, his debut dropped in 2006. Port of Miami. Hustling drop. Out of here. Boom. Hustling remix drop. He had Hove. Crossed that line with Akon on the album. Push It to the Limit. He's gone. Hustling was everywhere. Every day. A catchy ass record. Out of here. I think the next album was Triller. And that's the joint he had with Hove. Then later on, when I knew... Yeah, he had the first Maybach music with Hove on it. It was a wreck fire. When I knew Rick Ross arrived lyrically, I think it was Mafia Music. Always getting, his pen started getting better every album. Listen to Mafia Music. That's the joint he came at 50 on. And I was like, my ears just started saying, oh, he's not playing no more. When he dropped Mafia Music 2, I was, yeah, you had to stamp him. He was certified. I think Mafia Music 1 was on Deeper Than Rap. Mafia Music 2 was supposed to be on Teflon Don, but I don't think they was able to clear that sample. That was a hard sample to clear for that record. Of course, he had BMF and he had the My Gun Dirty, My Brick Clean, the MC Hammer joint, Tears of Joy, Murder. When he dropped the Rich Forever mixtape, which was a classic, by the way. Classic through and through. Listen to that shit from back to front. Holy Ghost, Yellow Diamonds, Triple Beam Dream. When he went toe to toe with Nas, I mean, Nas edged him on it, but Ross held his own. He's held his own with Hove on records, but with that one, no, I'm jumping the gun. Go back. Dark Twisted Fantasy. Devil in a New Dress verse. Looking at my bitch, I bet she give your ass a bone. Looking at my... Yo. He was arriving lyrically. I was like, nah, there's no way. I can't tell me this guy's not the guy right here. And I don't know what people were listening to, but to me, you know, because I was talking about music, he wasn't getting that. Like, yo, Ross. He, you know, he was spitting. The boy was spitting. But that Rich Forever mixtape, classic. Rich Forever mixtape is a classic. I think that's... Ross probably got one definite classic, and well, people don't really call them mixtapes no more. Projects. That was a classic. But as far as albums, some would say it was Teflon Don. I probably agree. Yeah, that was probably his most classic, you know, material. I think he had Hood Billionaire. What was the joint he had? The album with Devil is a Mastermind. But he had this joint, Drug Dealer's Dream, and fucking what was the Richest Gangster? Ross's ear for production is something I've never heard before. And shout out to Tax Stone, because Tax Stone always said what I was thinking. Shout out to Tax. Tax said Rick Ross should executive produce Nas's album. I was like, yo, I used to say the same thing, but I just never put it out. So he actually put it out, so I'm going to give him credit. I'm going to give him credit, because he said what I was thinking. I always said that. Whenever I heard Nas and Rick Ross on the track, I'm like, yo, why? Everybody's complaining about Nas's production. Why don't Rick Ross get on there? Because every time they on a beat together, it's like you hear the trumpets and Ross always got these epic beats. I think Rick Ross should be executive producing a lot of people's albums, man. His ear for production is unlike something I never heard of. His beat selection, out of here. He actually had that record with Nicki Minaj, You the Boss, that was a fire single that I thought they should have pushed, but they never pushed it. It was a fire single. They never pushed that single. I was just like, that was a hit record. I think he had the yellow mink on the cover of the joint. You know, Ross got to do it over the top. Remember before that, he had So Sophisticated. Meek was on that record. He had a record. He was one of the first to work with Nip early. I think he had a record with Nip and Stally. I remember later he had Elvis Presley, Boulevard. Like, I'm just throwing out the joints that I remember. But Ross's production, his lyric, I think lyrically he keeps climbing. And that Rather You Than Me album, fire. Rick Ross had, if not one of the most legendary diss tracks of all time. And listening to it, it don't sound like a conventional diss, but he was talking to him. Idols become rivals, where he went at Birdman's neck, and he took us on a lyrical journey on that shit, on that beat. He sampled the Jay-Z Where Have You Been beat from Dynasty. Murder. We've been getting music consistently since 2006 from Rick Ross. Why is he not in these top 10 conversations? He's certainly been creeping into it. He's been in my top 15. He's been creeping in my top 10. Oh, I forgot. I remember he had this joint with Pusha. Millions, I think. Millions in the ceiling. Millions in the ceiling. Choppers. Murder. He murdered it. His, what was the mixtape he had? That joint was called, I think I Still Wanna. Ross murdered it. Ross has been murdering verses. He gave Meek that song Free. Was Free for Meek's album. When I first heard that record, I was like, this got to be a Ross record. Just the way the record sounded. I'm not saying that Meek couldn't rap on nothing like that, but it sounded like a Ross record. Then when I heard Hove body it, and Ross and Drake, they make great music together. People don't really, this is what he's underrated. Ross and Drake make great music. They never had a whack record together at all. At all. I think my favorite one had to be Made Man. Come on, man. Rick Ross needs to, at this point, he needs to be in this conversation. Port of Miami 2 was fire. I was out in LA with my daughter, and we were headed to West Hollywood. I got a chance to play the album. I was taking public transportation out there when I was in LA. But yeah, I played the album when I was out there. I was just, I was just on another vibe. I'm like, damn. Ross, I don't want him to go down as one of the underrated, but it looks like it. He needs to be in these top 10 conversations, because we talking consistent albums, consistent, he stays around lyrically, production-wise. It sounds amazing. People say, oh, he talks about the same thing. He make it sound good. That's his lane. He could talk that shit. You know what I'm saying? He talks that shit, but he makes the shit sound good. I got Rick Ross creeping in my top 10 all time. He'll probably go higher. Who knows? He was in my top 15. He just kept creeping. And I think Rick Ross needs to be in these conversations. If you feel, I'm bugging, let me know. If I miss any record that you thought was hot that I didn't mention, let me know. But give Rick Ross his roses right now. Rick Ross, we appreciate you. We love your music. Can't wait till your new album drop, though. But yeah, Show Rick Ross his love before he gets out of here because he's definitely one of the most underrated.